Inculturation and theology of inculturation in particular. Actually, to explain it in a way everybody, not just for experts, can understand it. It is a theological study, a scientific study of the meeting of the gospel with the cultures. What does that mean? The theological reflection on the meeting of the gospel with the cultures. What we are saying is that the gospel cannot reach the people. It cannot reach even the heart of men and women unless it passes through their cultures, what we call cultural anthropology. We made mistakes in the past when we have the theology of tabula rasa, trying to separate people from their cultures, saying that cultures are paganism, and so you think that when you separate them from their cultures, and then it's only their souls that you need to be saved. Thanks be to God, Vatican Council II has helped us to recapture once more the original theology of the church fathers and the church's meeting with their cultures, because it has been there in the tradition and missionary history of the church, this approach of the theology of inculturation. But inculturation as a term is something new. It was not used in the council documents. The council used the expression adaptation, but not in the old sense of adaptation, but actually in the inculturation sense of adaptation. In the old sense of adaptation, adaptation refers to the way the missionary transports the culture, the church, as materialized in his homeland into the so-called mission land. As if to say that the people of the mission land have no cultures of their own on which the gospel of Jesus can be founded. But thanks to Vatican Council II and post-conciliar theology, that type of adaptation theology is no longer in vogue. In fact, African bishops criticized it during the Synod on Evangelization here in Rome in 1974 and said what we need is the theology of incarnation. And that is actually what inculturation theology is about. What does that mean? The meeting of the gospel and the culture. It means the gospel entering the culture through the proclamation of the word of God. You proclaim the word, the theology of the word. Once the word is proclaimed to these people, we call it semina verbi. The word is seminated. It's seminated in these people. So it begins to make use of the nutrient of this place to grow. And it produces the fruit as nourished by the nutrient of the place. What I want to say, for example, assuming that the word of God is proclaimed or seminated in this place with black color, this soil with black color. You seminate the word of God here through proclamation. It grows making use of this nutrient that is black. The fruit it will produce will be fruit, black fruit. But the substance is the word of God. And then you go to another area where the soil is red. And then you seminate the same word of God, the gospel. In this red soil, it will produce also, it will grow, germinate, the fruit it will produce will be red. But the substance is still the word of God. And that is the substance. And so that means that the gospel has now taken flesh among these people of red color, or of black color, or of white color, depending on where you proclaimed it. And so that it is no longer transporting something that materializes in some other place. It is not the church that we inculturate. No, but the word of God. That is what we have to be very, very careful. The word of God inculturated in this place produces the local church. that is inserted, that is inculturated in this place. While the old adaptation, the mistake was that we are transporting a church as materialized in the West, for example, into Africa. And that is the problem we have in most of the African local churches. You see, because what is transported there actually did not grow from the soil. And African local churches find difficult today to maintain those structures, that type of devotion and so on and so forth. But with the coming of theology of inculturation and this, all these things, effort be made now in the area of inculturation, corrections are being made and people are taking possession of the Word of God. The Word of God is animating their soul. They are producing the fruits from the Word proclaimed. And so that is what we are talking about when we talk of theology of inculturation. And you know, the theological foundation is, because I need to say this thing just if you give me a second, the theological foundation of inculturation is incarnation. The Son of God was born among these people, the Jews. So he is a Jew. He's a Hebrew. He grew up in their customs and all these things. So that is inculturation in the general sense. He belongs to these people. But in his real sense of it, inculturation, in strict sense, Jesus Christ took humanity. That event of Bethlehem cannot be repeated. It is this humanity he took. He took human flesh. And in taking human flesh, he redeemed the entire humanity. He doesn't belong only to the Jew. So inasmuch as inculturation points to the localization of the gospel, at the same time it transcends this localization. It brings the localized gospel into the attention of the gospel as gospel is. The localized people, the people that is evangelized in their locality, he brings them to the attention of God. And they took humanity of God, the Son of God, as in Jesus Christ. And that is why it is important to do the inculturation at the local level, because without that, they will not arrive at that general significance, at that main significance of the theology of incarnation, as a matter of fact. So that is actually the synopsis we can give about the theology of inculturation. It is a delicate issue. Some theologians have misunderstood with that, and even including our African theologians. But with time, the terminology is becoming clearer and clearer. And I think at a point we shall arrive at a democratic level, all things being equal. Yeah.